So back in the 1800s, an ornithologist named John Audubon said that turkey vultures don't have a sense of smell. Now stick with me here, because in the 1900s in USA, after a big safety accident, they started putting a smell into the LPG, the gas lines. And so that's why we can smell it. Now what you're actually smelling is this compound, not the gas, because the gas doesn't have a smell. But people whose job it was to inspect the gas lines for leaks discovered that they could look and they'd see turkey vultures circling above the gas pipes, and that's how they'd leak. Now this is all an introduction because I'm here with scientist Dr. Mel Massaro, who is an expert on birds and smells and how those two things interact. So Mel, like what do birds use their smell for, other than just like finding berries or insects or something?
Well, actually, one of the biggest things is actually foraging. So
yeah.
Birds clearly use their sense of smell for foraging. So the turkey vultures, coming back to the turkey vultures, they can find carrion, so decomposing meat, by their sense of smell, even when it's hidden underneath a canopy or something. But we know now that even songbirds, such as the Eurasian magpie, can find hidden walnuts. So sense of smell is quite important, but we haven't studied very many bird species here in Australia and
yeah.
their sense of smell.
What about for navigation? You mentioned that earlier. How do birds find directions with that?
So they shown in early studies, especially on homing pigeons and on Procellariiformes, which are the tube-nosed seabirds, such as the albatross and the petrels and the shearwaters. They have a keen sense of smell, and they actually use their sense of smell for foraging. Effectively, the early ornithologists actually they section the olfactory nerve, or they plucked the noses of these birds and then let them go a long distance away. Sounds
quite painful. Do you do that now?
No, you wouldn't get animal ethics approval for these sort of studies anymore. But in the 1960s and 70s, you would get away doing this. But yeah, effectively what they've shown is that actually in homing pigeons, their sense of smell is more important than actually their magnetic sense of direction.
Wow. And what sort of experiments do you do nowadays? What are you working on right now for birds and smells?
So I'm a behavioral ecologist, so I use lots of scent experiments to test on whether birds have a good sense of smell.
Yeah.
So we provide certain scents and then actually measure the behavior of birds in reaction to that scent smell. So you have to remember that birds may not react to a particular scent if it's not relevant to them.
Okay.
It does not necessarily mean that they cannot smell that scent.
Yeah.
But the examples we do usually is that, for example, we've just completed a study where we tested whether birds can actually detect the scents of their predators. We know from mammal studies, rodents for example, they have a hardwired response, for example, to particular compounds, volatiles. We call them volatiles. These are chemical compounds with a smell that are in the urine of big predators, such as tigers, lions, dogs, cats. So when these big mammals, which are predators, pee somewhere, and a mouse detects that particular volatile that's in the urine of these mammals, a mouse will just run.
Is that because they've seen their parents run away or something and they've learned it? Or is
it's an innate behavior that it was an adaptation to predation risk. So over time, these mice have a hardwired response to these volatiles that are in the urine of these big mammals.
Yeah.
But nobody's really tested this for birds. So we've been experimenting using bird baths, where we have 2 bird baths, and one of them is scented with scents of predators.
Yeah.
But then also we have, as a procedural control, we actually use the scent of koala scents, koala, and then we test on how Australian birds react to these scents. And what we've shown is that actually the honey eaters clearly can detect the scent of native possums, and they try to avoid that bird bath, while they use the other bath, which is not scented. They prefer using that bath.
Okay.
And then even if we switch those scents around between the two bird baths, we find once again that the honey eaters prefer the bird baths which are not scented. But the funny thing is that we found actually that all the honey eaters did the opposite for koala scent.
Well, they like the koalas.
They love the koala scent. So they really, but remember that koala scent is because koalas eat eucalyptus leaves.
Yep.
And so they're even us humans, we don't have particularly good noses, but even us humans can detect eucalyptus. It's really, koala shit effectively smells like eucalyptus.
Yeah.
And the birds, it turns out that the honey eaters actually like that scent, but they don't like possum scent at all.
Wow. So what's Australia's smelliest bird?
Well, I would say the Lord Howe Island wood hen.
Okay.
I've actually smelled a lot of birds, and you know, a lot of seabirds.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of seabirds actually don't smell. Penguins, for example, they don't smell that bad.
Yeah.
It's usually what you smell is the feces around the penguins. Yeah. But actually, the Protellariiformes, those seabirds that find their way using their sense of smell, they smell quite strongly, but it's sort of a petrol-y smell. Every seabird biologist would know that. But Lord Howe Island wood hen, because especially the ones on Mount Gower, because they feed on seabird chicks and decaying meat,
and they stink.
Oh, terrible! Like I was helping out a few people taking blood samples of Lord Howe Island wood hens, and I've never smelled anything as foul as a Lord Howe Island wood hen, especially the ones which are feeding on particular on
I wonder
carcasses.
if this will get into the tourism brochures. Go see Lord Howe for the smelly birds. Thanks very much.